Boom, we are live. Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Audra. I'm excited about today. And for those of you who might not be familiar, CityClips Live is all about covering business, North Florida business and tech. And really excited to have Audra Fournier here. And let me give a quick intro and then we'll dive into her story. She is a life and master business coach and teaching faculty of entrepreneurship at FSU's Moran College of Entrepreneurship. She helps individuals and business leaders grow with clarity and confidence, guiding them through coaching, group programs, and strategic planning. In the classroom, she supports students in navigating the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, fostering creativity, critical thinking, and resilience. Whether shaping the next generation of entrepreneurs or guiding seasoned professionals in their next bold move, Audra brings insight, encouragement, and strategic clarity to every conversation. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited.
So let's always, like what I like to do is go back to the beginning. What brought you to Tallahassee, unless you're originally from Tallahassee? I know you're Floridian.
I am. Actually, I was born in Thomasville, which is obviously just up the street. I lived there on a cattle farm until I was 16 years old. However, my mom practiced family law here in Tallahassee for 40 of the 50 years that she practiced law. And when I was 16, she decided she's really tired of driving back and forth. And so we moved to Tallahassee. I graduated from Lincoln. I went to Kaiser and got an AA in paralegal studies because I think that all lawyers think that their children should be lawyers. So that was the only foray into that I went. And then I did the TCC to FSU program, graduating with a bachelor's in hospitality. So that's my Tallahassee story. I moved back in 2016 or 17. So I've been back for, 7 or 8 years. And delighted to be back. I feel a lot different about Tallahassee than when I was growing up here. And it's grown a lot. It's got a lot of, more style and personality and, offers a lot than it did 20 years ago. But
I'm glad you brought that up because you really have that unique perspective of growing up here. I forgot you're a Lincoln alum. So is my daughter. And, Lincoln probably at the time, I think it was just not too many schools. And I don't know if Charles was already, in existence at the time.
Yeah, I think that we were one of the last graduating classes before Charles opened its doors.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think, was it the same class as David Cummings? Or I think I remember there was overlap there. Yeah. And so now, like you said, it's grown so much. And I didn't even know you moved back not too long ago, almost 8 years. I thought when I met you, I really felt like you've been around longer than that, like having moved back. But yeah, no, there's so much has changed in the last 11 years. I mean, since I moved here.
Yes.
So, like you said, more personality. So what do you think? Do you feel like now there's definitely a scene for the young professional, young business owner, our age group?
Yes, I think that Tallahassee over the last probably 11, 12 years, maybe a little longer, but certainly within that time frame, has done a very good job to try and retain talent, to encourage startups, to encourage small businesses, to provide a space for tech, which was not a thing. Because I feel like, and I think that the city, the chamber, everybody recognized that there was this massive leaky hole in the bucket of skill set. We would educate this really amazing group of young minds, and then they couldn't wait to leave. So we were losing all that value. And so little things have popped up. Domi Station is a great incubator for those young professionals, finding spaces for internship, finding spaces to recruit directly from FSU, internship programs with FSU and career development and things like that, to try to keep some of that talent here. And how do we grow benefiting off the back of these major FAMU, FSU, Kaiser, TSC? How do we benefit from being this space of curation for those students.
So what made you go from like hospitality, that background, to now business coaching and, just being around entrepreneurs? Us crazy entrepreneurs.
Yes, us crazy entrepreneurs. So I'm a third generation entrepreneur myself. I think I always knew that I wanted to run my own business. I like to lightly say that I have a problem with authority. I don't like being told what to do. But what the hospitality industry gave me was this beautiful, unique perspective of the customer experience, looking at all things from the backside of things, from the consumer side, creating environments, researching and watching companies like Disney that really think about what is the experience of doing business and going to one of their theme parks or whatever. Marriott was always a big case study through the hospitality program. What does it look and feel like when you walk into a space that's curated for a specific purpose? When a lot of the business school side of thing is talking about the background, what do we do behind the scenes to grow a business? Hospitality is the opposite. What do we do from the front side to ensure that those customers come back and enjoy that lasting memory and emotional relationship that they have with the business? So I love that. I love that, getting into the minds of the consumer, looking at business from, instead of just a numbers and dollar signs perspective, KPIs and metrics and all of that stuff. What is this emotional relationship that we're creating with our customer base? And so I loved business from the sake of business and entrepreneurship, but I loved this experience and the psychological side that comes with running a business. And so when I understood that coaching was a thing, that we can help shift the minds of our leaders so that they can see it from both sides, I immediately dived right in and said, how do I do this for the rest of my life? I think it's amazing. It's so much fun.
And every business owner or anyone in leadership needs a coach, like at every level. That's something eventually I learned too. So what are you finding as common needs or things that you're challenges that you're having to help your clients through?
There's a few. And it depends upon the level in the business and how long you've ran your business to oftentimes how quickly you come into contact with the challenges. The first is the ability to, and it's not in this sequential order, but these are the things, to clearly communicate your dream, your vision, your expectations, these things, to be able to clearly convey to another person so that either they're bought into the idea or they feel like that they have enough information to be able to go off and do the tasks and be in the same boat that you're trying to row to the island that you're trying to get to. The second is comfortability and the understanding of the necessity to relinquish control and to delegate to others. You cannot replicate your time and effort until you're able to delegate some of the tasks that are on your plate that you're no longer the best at doing. So clearly identifying the goal, right, and delegating to and relinquishing control. And then the third to me is the understanding and appreciation of systems and processes, and being able to monitor the system and the process, right? So when you create a process, in my mind, you're creating a sequence of events, right, that you can then monitor. So instead of saying, hey, person, you did a bad job, you're instead holding people accountable to the process of the system. So then you determine, well, is it the process or the system that's off, or is it the person that doesn't clearly understand what the purpose and what is the system and process itself? Because then we can replicate and create efficiencies once we have systems and processes in place. And so sometimes it's a combination of those things. Sometimes there's one thing that particularly sticks out and we're like, okay, so let's work specifically on this thing. But those, I would say, would be the top three things that I work with most of my clients on.
I really liked how you also, because you're certified, and if you can correct me in terms of like I think it was a personality exam and assessment, right? You did one for me, like a consultation session. where it was like some kind of psych eval, and I can't remember the name. Is it Myers-Briggs?
No, it was DISC.
Oh, DISC. Yes,
Yeah.
DISC. Yes. Yeah, so I love that. And then you also do that for teams. You kind of help team members, figure out, where they're at and how they can communicate with one another. That's part of your process, right?
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to the can you clearly articulate? And so what DISC helps us do is it helps us understand what our communication style is like. And so that we can understand what our team members' communication styles are like as well, so that we make sure that when we are communicating, we're doing so as efficiently as possible.
That's awesome. And I think I remember you mentioned too that you help coach you can do the founder, business owner, CEO, and you can also do team members so that everyone can align with the overall vision, right? Is that what you do? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a lot of fun. It actually kind of builds some cohesiveness in the team when they understand who they are, and then they understand how their boss or teammates communicate too. Then it's an understanding that they're no longer an island, right? That they're not this weird person that just doesn't understand, that this communication is a challenge no matter what part of the hierarchy you're in. So it just makes a bit of a more cohesive team in general. Yeah.
We met through BNI. So for those who are not familiar, because I still meet people who've never heard of BNI, it's Business Networking International. And we had mutual friends. We kept seeing each other at several events. And that's how I was able to connect with you. Where are you finding a lot of your clients? It's a combination of word of mouth, or how are you landing your qualified leads?
Yes. So it's a combination of things, actually. I mean, my website and Google does an okay, but probably 75% are from either past clients or my very close network. I've been in my BNI since we founded my particular chapter about 8 or 9 years ago. 8 years ago now. And I love my chapter, and I'm very loyal to my chapter. And it is a space that I can continue to educate about what coaching is, because even though it's kind of a buzzword now, some people don't really understand what coaching is. And so it gives me the opportunity to continue to educate a group of individuals that are out in my community working on my behalf. Just this morning, I had the 10-minute presentation, and we talked about the spirit of opulence, which is about the cyclical concept of giving, right? Rooted in abundance and the understanding. Like, it was just an opportunity for me to kind of teach, which was great. It's a whole lot of fun. So if you are looking to expand your network in no matter what community you're in, definitely do give BNI a shot. If you are an uncomfortable speaker, then it is the safest place that you can curate and be comfortable, introducing yourself and talking about what you do as a business owner. I'm a huge fan. So yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to the Wednesday group, because it's one of my favorite chapters to visit. What's the name again? It is
BNI Champions.
Okay, Champions on Wednesday morning. Yes, and then what brought you the idea or the opportunity for Jim Moran College? Like that's a whole nother thing. I know you've also had experience with SBDC. You've contributed to the community in many different ways, BNI as well in leadership. So, so yeah, now being there, how's that?
It's amazing. So I do a lot of different things, whether it's Jim Moran College or the Jim Moran Institute or BNI or the SBDC. So it's all in the same line or lane, right? So my job is to cultivate small business owners, entrepreneurs, whether they're budding, starting, they've been in business for 5 years, they've been in business for 25 years, they're exiting, whatever it is, that whole avenue of business ownership and entrepreneurship is my passion project. So I went to the Jim Moran Institute and kind of started becoming a mentor for the Jim Moran students at the college itself. And then I was like, well, I would love to get more involved. How do I get more involved? And they were like, well, you can, basically TA a class. The Intro to Entrepreneurship class which is a 2000 level class, is about 175 students strong. It's huge class because anybody from the university can take it as an elective. If they're interested in the College of Entrepreneurship, it would be their intro class. And so they get teaching assistants or mentors to help that professor grade, right? So this semester, last year, so fall of 2024, I signed up as a TA. And when the semester was over, I was like, wow, that was fun. How can I get more involved? And so I was like, do you have adjunct spaces? And so I was sent a link and I signed up, and what happened to be a 9-month teaching faculty position. And it was 17 days before the beginning of the spring semester for 2025. So it would have been a year ago now, literally a year ago in 3 days. So then I got my first semester and I got 2 classes that were all my own. And I have never taught a class in my whole life. And so things just happened. And so I taught. It was a fantastic semester, didn't end the way that I wanted it to, but it was a really great semester and a learning experience for me. And this past semester, I had 4 classes. And that was, so now I'm officially teaching faculty and I love it. Their little minds are just amazing. They're so creative and they have all these fantastic entrepreneurship ideas. And funnily enough, I'll have conversations with students, teaching them things, and then be speaking at the chamber in the same afternoon and have the same conversations with people that have owned businesses for 5 or 6 years. And I can use the same content and it's, fantastic. I love it.
That's wonderful. And running a business, you're always learning. It's a constant learning experience. And so you always have to adjust and pivot and everything. So did you ever think you'd be teaching one day?
God, no. I was an awful student.
I know, it's crazy. And what's it like?
I couldn't get out of college fast enough.
I know, it's crazy. But I'm sure you have fun classes. And does it, I would think that it's challenging to teach this younger generation, but I think it sounds like you're having a lot of fun. You keep adding to the, curriculum or your time in terms of more classes. Yep. What's it like teaching this next generation? Is it Gen Z or is this still it is Gen Z?
Yeah,
right?
I get confused as to what generation it is. They're, between the ages of, because they're junior, 18, senior, so they're 20 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
There's some challenges. There's some fantastic things. So they have a very anything is possible kind of mindset sometimes. I could be, a millionaire tomorrow, which is not, it's not necessarily always realistic, but it's not unrealistic either. Because they're growing up in a time where if you happen to have a really amazing idea and you've thought outside the box, you could be an Uber. It just, but true. They have some mental anxiety delicacies that we have to work around a bit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm taking a mental health day and I'm like, yeah, but you have an assignment due today. And that's kind of there's a problem there. You're going to have to figure that out. So as the sky is the limit as they are, and they're willing to be really creative, I have to keep one step ahead of them in that, writing assignments sometimes aren't always the right answer because they can plug it into ChatGPT and spit out something that doesn't sound like anything that anybody would ever actually write at the age of 22. But then they also can have these really insightful, what do you think the future of influencers looks like and how is that viable for this particular business model? And they'll come up with some really cool stuff. And so, it's, there's give and take there.
It must also keep you creative and on top of your feet and everything. Like you just, so it's nice to get that young perspective. And then you still get the experience of being with older business owners or more veteran seasonal business owners.
Yeah, so we have a couple of things going there, right? We can, I do, because of the nature of entrepreneurship, to me, and I've always been taught, and this is how I've experienced entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's the ability to identify a problem and deploy resources to solve that problem, right? So then there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's not like accounting where there is a definitive answer here. So we do a lot of activities and problem solving and getting out there and tell me how this customer experience was for you and what could they have done different, and all of that. So you really got to keep them moving, because you're teaching a philosophy, a way of thought more than anything else. And so then you take that back. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought up mindset, because like with the holidays coming up, and I'm sure just personally with everybody probably stressing out about all the things, right? End of the year coming, maybe some business owners out there are struggling. What would you say to your, like, for example, if a client of yours comes to you and just say they're overwhelmed with everything personally, professionally, the business and everything, like, what do you kind of help them do to get through that process where they feel like giving up? Is there anything, like, do you have any tips or exercises?
Yeah, we do a lot of, sometimes your state of mind currently is because, have you ever seen that, it's a meme or something, maybe the reason that you haven't reached your goals is because you keep raising the bar? So sometimes we forget to celebrate the accomplishments that we actually had this year. We have to go back because we just shove it under the rug and we're on to the next thing, right? Instead of going, that was really great. I should celebrate that. Some evaluation may need to be had there. What can we recognize ourselves for? Because we do a lot of growth under the surface of the water that sets us up to be able to achieve the next goal. There's a lot of work that has to be done there, right? To be able to lift 500 pounds, you don't go from 0 to 500. You have to build the capacity for muscles to be able to absorb that amount of weight. And that needs to be done in the little repetitions. So instead of celebrating or not celebrating whether you got to the 500 pounds, maybe it's that you were able to do 125 pounds 30 times. But it doesn't feel as celebratory as putting the next weight on the bar. So sit down and have a talk with yourself. In what other ways did you grow?
I love that. That was really good. Do you have, I mean, we're going to wrap up now. Time goes by quick. And is there anything that you like to say in terms of, words of wisdom, things that I haven't asked about?
You said earlier that everybody needs a coach. And I believe that you're right. I have a coach, and I don't think that you should ever hire a coach if they don't have a coach, because they're not getting the intrinsic value of having one. But also you have to be ready to be pushed, because that's what your coach is going to do. It's going to push you outside your comfort zone. And if your comfort zone is you don't want to be outside of it yet, maybe you're not ready. So make sure that you're intentional in the next move that you make, wherever that is, whatever kind of coach that you hire. Sometimes you just need an accountability buddy, and that's important too. Do your research. Don't jump in, find one that works for you. You don't want to flush your money down the toilet because you jumped into a coach relationship when maybe you guys don't speak the same language. It's okay to interview for yours. I had to interview a little for mine too. Be kind to yourself. Business is hard every day. Yeah. It is tough, y'all. Give yourself a little grace and patience and love, and it's okay to feel like you're always failing, because you're really not. It just feels that way. But if you need a person to talk to, I'm always available, and I'm local, and I'm around town, and I'm happy to Zoom or call or coffee or whatever. That's all.
I love that. Thank you so much, Audra. That's so perfect to cap the year, really.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And you probably hear it a lot with different clients. Just we tend to not celebrate our wins, and we always think like, okay, how can we set the bar higher when we really shouldn't?
Yeah.
Because the bar is too high.
Yep.
And being kind to ourselves. We're so critical of ourselves, I think. I can speak for, I know I am. So thanks so much, Audra, for joining us today.
It's been such a delight. Thank you so much, Julia.
Yeah, thank you. And if you have time, I'll see you on the other side. I'll go ahead and wrap up here. Thanks, everyone, for hopping on. We hope you catch this whole episode, and we'd love to have y'all on next time.